This week on Ebert and Roeper, Anakin Skywalker feels the dark side of the Force in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Also, DJ Qualls is the new guy.
And Richard Gere suspects Diane Lane of being unfaithful.
Annie? My goodness, you've grown.
So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean. Well, for a senator, I mean.
Annie, you'll always be that little boy I knew on Tatooine.
The Republic is threatened with civil war, and young Anakin Skywalker is assigned to guard its leader in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It's coming up later as one of 5 new movies this week, and I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. Our first movie is Unfaithful, from director Adrian Lyne of Fatal Attraction and 9½ Weeks. And it's a thoughtful, provocative jewel. Richard Gere used to play slick operators who could disrupt a marriage with a swivel of the hips and a seductive squint, but now he's the cuckold. Edward Sumner, a rather soft-bodied, middle-aged businessman who adores his gorgeous wife and dotes on his precocious son. Diane Lane gives one of the best performances of her career as his restless wife, Connie.
You're in my mind. You're the only thing in my mind when I wake up every morning. You're in my brain before I even open my eyes.
And that's Olivier Martinez as Paul Martel, a French smoothie who looks like he fell off the cover of a Harlequin romance. Connie's little lies begin to pile up, and Edward's radar kicks in.
We could go in together. I'll wait for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to be ready to go for at least an hour.
That's right, I'll wait.
The cheating couple gets jazzed by flaunting the affair to the very edge of getting caught, as when Paul drops in on Connie as she's having coffee with friends.
I have friends out there. You take me to the best places.
Unfaithful has some obvious metaphors. For example, Edward runs an armored car company but can't protect his own marriage. And director Lyne cannot resist a few sly in-jokes. When the Sumner's child plays a bunny in the school play, we can't help but reference the boiled bunny scene from Fatal Attraction. But this is not a slasher, stalker thriller. It's a quietly paced examination of an affair, punctuated by the occasional burst of action and reaction. Edward doesn't abuse or neglect his wife. She isn't pushed into Paul's arms. She chooses to go there. And the consequences will reverberate forever.
Yeah, you know, this is a happy marriage. And so it's not like he's some kind of a monster and the other guy is the understanding lover who gives her a safe haven. She has no reason to go to that man except that she wants to, which makes it all the more intriguing.
Right.
And then as the relationship develops, you see that somehow there's almost like a suicidal urge within her to cause trouble for no particular good reason. It's very fascinating.
I think she goes into this thinking, well, this is just going to be the one fling I'll look back on when I'm a 70-year-old woman still married to Edward, but it consumes her in a way that she didn't really think was going to happen. And there's some interesting kind of ticks in the Richard Gere character. We see that he's really fiercely into loyalty, as with this one employee of his, I don't want to give anything away. So when he suspects that his wife isn't being loyal, it goes in a whole different direction.
You know, a couple of times during the movie, cops turn up, and I was afraid at the end it would turn into a routine thriller with some kind of an action sequence or a chase or some kind of violence. And without giving the ending away, or maybe I just did, I like the fact that they just stick with the characters and stick with the implications and stick with the consequences of these actions.
And Diane Lane is magnificent in this movie.
Yes, she is. Okay, our next title is The New Guy, and it joins the endless parade of movies about high school misfits who become popular with the school sex pot. This formula is so relentless, you wonder if all Hollywood teenagers are caught in some kind of a version of Groundhog Day, repeating the same events again and again in movie after movie after movie. But I gotta admit, The New Guy does have a certain wacky charm. I like DJ Qualls as the hero who's a geek at one school, but cool at another.
Come to the football game this weekend. Our team sucks, nobody shows. But if you showed up, maybe some of these other fools would too.
I'm in.
You unfortunately.
You am what?
My grandmother's Albanian. It means I owe you one.
That's Eliza Dushku as the nice girl at the new school, but of course the newly popular kid is also attracted to the school slut.
That is without doubt the sluttiest girl I have ever seen.
I know. Isn't it great?
One of the kid's big scenes has him dressed up as Braveheart to lead the football team into battle, and he also impersonates General Patton. I'm surprised they knew who Patton was at that high school, but DJ Qualls, who was also in the bad movie Road Trip, has a goofy comic timing that's kind of infectious. Maybe there's hope for him. Even Steve McQueen started out on The Blob, you know. Here, Qualls has to suffer through dialogue like the scene where the high school counselor says he's in denial, and then she adds, denial is not just a river in Egypt. So, thumbs down, needless to say, despite the possible promise of DJ Qualls.
You are being far too kind, but DJ Qualls will always be able to say that Roger Ebert somehow compared him to Steve McQueen, so he'll always have that, because it's never going to happen again in this guy's life. You're right about it being kind of a Groundhog Day thing. I'm assuming these kids all go to a high school where the local Blockbuster does not have any movies with Freddie Prinze Jr. or Jennifer Love Hewitt, because we've seen this a million times before. It's not as gross and as disgusting as some of these teen comedies. It has a little bit of a softer heart, but it's just not very funny at all.
Almost like
lame and unnecessary.
It's like the people who made this movie had a certain amount of wit and sweetness that was excessive to the demands of the genre.
But they didn't have any amount of originality or creativity.
No, it's not a reprehensible movie. It's not a hateful movie. It's just a bad movie.
It's just a movie you can wait if you're on an airplane one day and you need to kill some time.
Okay, coming up later in the show, our special expanded review of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Visit our website, ebertandroeper.tv. Presented by the Walt Disney Collection. Ebert and Roeper's Thumbs Up Video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
Why don't you just calm down? What do you care what he has to say?
This week's Thumbs Up Video is a special edition DVD of The Usual Suspects, Bryan Singer's brilliant mind puzzle from 1995 about 5 career criminals trying to pull off the impossible heist and the legendary, perhaps mythical, underworld figure known as Kaiser Soze. Kevin Spacey won an Oscar for his performance as Verbal Kint, a crippled small-time crook who spins the story in flashback as he's interrogated by a customs agent played by Chaz Palminteri.
Keaton always said, I don't believe in God, but I'm afraid of him. Well, I believe in God, and the only thing that scares me is Kaiser Soze.
The special edition includes commentary tracks, some deleted scenes, a gag reel, and even an Easter egg with some outtakes from cast interviews. With all its murky twists and turns, The Usual Suspects is enhanced by watching it on DVD. That way you can view the movie, dig into the bells and whistles, and then screen the film again to see if the pieces of the puzzle all fit.
Or for that matter, if it's really a puzzle. Coming up next, a Jedi grows up in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back.
You're not all-powerful, Anakin.
Well, I should be.
Anakin Skywalker was only a boy as the hero of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, but now he's growing into young manhood in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and we can see early signs that he will eventually become the evil Darth Vader. But in this new Star Wars movie, he's a hero, assigned along with his mentor, a younger Obi-Wan Kenobi, to guard Senator Padme Amidala as she leads the Republic in its defense against the rebels.
We need a system where the politicians sit down and discuss the problem. Agree what's in the best interest of all the people, and then do it.
That's exactly what we do. The trouble is that people don't always agree.
Well, then they should be made to.
Director George Lucas is an outspoken advocate of digital filmmaking, and the models, puppets, and miniatures of the first 3 Star Wars movies have been replaced in the last 2 by computer-generated images.
The boy has exceptional skills.
But he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him, well, arrogant.
Yes, yes. A flaw more and more common among Jedi. Too sure of themselves they are. Even the older, more experienced ones.
The use of computer animation allows Lucas to greatly expand the scope of his canvas in epic shots like this one. That looks sensational, but the surprise is Episode 2 bogs down in too much dialogue. Apart from one big action sequence, the first hour is mostly stiff, banal commonplaces without any wit or excitement. And as for the images, Lucas shot Episode 2 not on film, but on digital videotape with a new digital camera made just for him by Sony. 19 theaters will be showing it in digital projection. Everyone else in about 3,000 other theaters will see it transferred to film, as I did. I saw the movie on a very big screen, which was not kind to the digital process. Scenes looked fuzzy, action was often unconvincing, and alien creatures sometimes lurched as awkwardly as in 1950s sci-fi pictures. The trailers on the web, curiously, look sharper and brighter than the movie did, so maybe Attack of the Clones would pop out more on a small multiplex screen or with a digital projector. I don't know, but judging from what I saw, Lucas's digital approach isn't able to hold a big screen convincingly.
Well, I thought there was a visual texture to Episode 2 that surpasses not only The Phantom Menace, but the first 3 Star Wars films. The blending of human actors, costume creations, elaborate sets, and those digital effects I thought was nearly seamless. This is a great-looking movie with distinct planet environments, sweeping astral landscapes, and even outer space rainstorms. And it's not just the backdrops and the explosions that are more impressive, it's the non-human characters. The Yoda of Attack of the Clones is so expressive and mobile that he makes the old Yoda look like the sock puppet he is.
Do you think these cloners are involved in the plot to assassinate Senator Amidala?
No, Master, there appears to be no motive.
Do not assume anything, Obi-Wan. Clear your mind must be if you are to discover the real villains behind this plot.
The cast is also uniformly strong. It's not easy acting opposite robots and blue screens and imaginary Jedi masters, but Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Samuel L. Jackson, and Natalie Portman are more than up to the task. I really like the love story between Christensen and Portman, even though I couldn't quite figure out how he aged more than a decade while she looked pretty much the same as she did when he was a little boy. But that's a minor quibble. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, was she 10 years older than him or not?
I thought so, but...
Okay, now we disagree about the visuals, so let's put that to one side. There is not one line in this movie that you could quote with any pleasure. It is the most banal script I've ever read. It's just all about exactly what the plot requires them to say at any given moment, and the love story is just dead in the water.
I don't think it's dead in the water at all.
I didn't feel any chemistry between them, and as for the things that they say, those are ancient, tired, romantic cliches from 1,000 other movies.
Well, this is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, so maybe they invented these cliches, and then Shakespeare got them from there. But first of all, Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen are great-looking actors, and I think they have a wonderful chemistry together. I like their love scenes together. I don't think they are at all.
They just kind of stare at each other while I love you, you know, but I mustn't love you.
Well, you know,
and then the rest of the dialogue all involves what's happened before, what's going to happen next.
Yeah, well, you know,
what's happening in the Empire, what's happening in the Republic.
You go through all 5 Star Wars movies, and there's a lot of that sort of sci-fi, Western and outer space dialogue. It's corny stuff, and there's a lot of fortune cookie wisdom from Yoda.
Somebody in this movie have something interesting to say, and say it with wit and style and flash. The actors are all dialed down. None of them seem excited enough to be who they are.
Well, I disagree with that as well, and I think there are some witty exchanges between Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, you know, the apprentice and the master, that sort of thing. And it's a fun approach to the Star Wars story. This movie does not take itself as seriously as Phantom Menace does, and I think, you want to go back to the visuals, I think it looks great.
Oh, well, I don't think it looks great. For example, you take Yoda. Now, you like this Yoda better than the other Yoda.
Yeah, and you know what? Go back and look at that other Yoda.
First of all,
you can practically see the guy crouching underneath
the other Yoda never looked like a sock puppet, and not only didn't he not look like a sock puppet, but Lucas has said that he tried to make this Yoda look like the Muppet Yoda.
Only
so
more expressive, and there's this whole crouching Yoda, hidden dragon thing.
That Yoda turns into an action figure now with his lightsaber.
I think that
after
is
the
a
next
scene
movies
that Star Wars fans are going to absolutely love. I loved it.
It's totally out of character for him.
It's not totally out of character for him. That's part of his skills. He's not just this brilliant philosopher. He's also a Jedi warrior.
And you have the Force.
He's a Jedi master.
If you encompass the Force, you don't need no laser saber.
You do when you're going up against another Jedi dude who's also got super duper
go like
powers.
This.
No, well,
you're Yoda. Nobody can stop you.
Well, he was being stopped mentally, so he had to go to the physical stuff.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of great action sequences.
Okay, well, I'm sure that a lot of people will agree with you.
I hope so.
Okay. Our next movie takes place on another continent long ago and far away, and it tells the story of a brave woman in a time of revolution. It's called The Lady and the Duke, the newest film by the astonishing French director Eric Roeper, who at the age of 82 has made a daring approach to French history. His movie is based on the memoirs of an English woman named Grace Elliott, who lived in Paris at the time of the Revolution and risked her life by supporting royalty.
Je respecte votre affection pour une monarchie qui ne la mérite pas. Mais je n'en veux à personne au sujet de ses opinions sur la Révolution. Mais je désire qu'on fasse de même pour moi. Mais d'un côté comme de l'autre, on n'a pas ma tolérance, hélas. Grâce. Je vous conjure, rentrez dans votre pays.
That's Lucy Russell as Grace Elliott and the wonderful Jean-Claude Dreyfus as her former lover, the Duke of Orleans. Roeper uses a combination of old-fashioned painted backdrops and new-fashioned computer graphics to recreate 18th century Paris, as in this scene where Grace and her servant use a telescope on the day when the royal family is executed.
Il y a des soldats?
Oui, il me semble. Je vois du bleu et du rouge.
Eric Roeper is one of my favorite directors for the way he tells stories where men and women weave the spells of romance in long conversations. Witty, quotable conversations. His movie, An Autumn Tale, was on my best 10 list a couple of years ago. And his films are usually set in the present day, but here he transplants his style into history, showing Grace and the Duke as former lovers who stand on opposite sides of the deadly political questions of the day and yet are stimulated and amused by each other's adamant conversation. I really admire his recreation of Paris at the time of the terror. The streets empty except for the avenging mobs.
Well, with all due respect to Eric Roeper, first of all, this attempt to have this computer-generated backdrop is just, it's stilted and it doesn't work at all. And the battle scenes that they try to show are terrible. There's a scene once where, in one character, her head's on a stick and it's so laughably bad, it's like out of a 6th grade play. So that stuff doesn't work at all. And you're right, the conversations are very long in this movie. Very long. Really long. They are endless, and the French Revolution is taking place over there,
this is not,
and these aristocrats are over here, putting me to sleep with this endless debate about the fate of the king.
This is not an action picture about the French Revolution. This is based on the memoirs of a woman who, like all women at that time, had to stay at home and kind of get everything secondhand as people come in and out of her house
around in her heels
to report. Yes.
Yeah, I found this to be really deadly dull.
Long, interesting passages are better than short, boring ones.
Interesting to you.
Coming up next, the makers of Taxicab Confessions have a new film, Sex with Strangers.
Y'all are swingers.
You're swingers. Okay.
And looking forward to next week's show, Oscar winners Al Pacino, Robin Williams, and Hilary Swank star in Insomnia, the story of a cop haunted by guilt. As the forces behind HBO's Taxicab Confessions, Joe and Harry Gantz know how to get regular folks to talk about sex in a way that would make Jerry Springer envious and makes me cringe, though I find it impossible to click away whenever I stumble across that show. Now the Gantz brothers have put their unique talents to use in Sex with Strangers, a documentary about 3 couples who swing. And I don't mean they're into Benny Goodman.
I guess the main reason we're a very good tag team. We call each other a tag team, and people laugh at us because when we go into a place, it's almost like we like each of us see somebody and we just boom, go that way.
That's James and Teresa, wily veterans of the scene. They seem to spend every waking moment hunting down potential partners or getting knee-deep in a pile of human flesh. But for Calvin and Sarah, it's much more of a soap opera.
We are simply here to have sex with some people that are friends of ours and we find attractive and we want to have a good time. That's it. And you've got to make a big ordeal out of it.
And then there's Shannon and Gerard, who share the secret of their lifestyle with her mother and a camera crew, of course.
Have you ever heard of swingers? Yes.
Well,
Y'all are swingers.
you're swingers. Okay.
Although Sex with Strangers is loaded with nudity and soft-core versions of the physical encounters, I would say it's hardly sexy. For one thing, the average collection of swingers looks like the average crowd on the street, and do you want to see those people naked in harsh lighting? I don't. Beyond that, these so-called swingers seem kind of lost. Sex with Strangers is fascinating, but I thought also really sad.
You know, I agree with what you've said, and I would also question whether it's really a documentary. For example, there's a scene where they're in a club and they meet another couple, and they ask the other couple, do you want to swing? And the other couple says, sure. And they say, oh, we have our motorhome right outside. And so they go outside, the 2 couples and the camera. You see. And I'm wondering, if let's say I wanted to be a swinger, and I just met 2 other people that are going to take me into their motorhome, am I going to wonder about the fact that this happens to be videotaped while it's happening? I think I'm going to, when I saw scenes like that, I thought, this has all been rehearsed. This has actually
Everything
it's
here
a setup.
Is questionable, but do you think it's worth seeing even if you think it might be staged?
No, because I didn't find them that interesting.
I think it's worth seeing whether it's staged or whether it's not.
You do?
Yeah.
Because
they are fascinating people, and if they're actors pulling this off, then they've done a really good job of performance art. And if they're not, it's just fascinating. I don't want to spend any more time with them than the film has.
I was disappointed by how fascinating the swinging lifestyle wasn't.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs up for Unfaithful, 2 thumbs down for The New Guy. We split on Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It opens on Thursday. We split again on The Lady and the Duke, and we split again on Sex with Strangers.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Hugh Grant in About a Boy. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, I wonder about Star Wars going out for an immediate global audience, so they didn't kind of dumb down the dialogue so it'd be simpler to translate or dub or subtitle or whatever.
Maybe so. I mean, you could probably watch this with the sound turned down and still get the basic story.
I think I might like it better that way.
They're your family. That's why you serve them all-natural Tyson chicken with no additives and minimal processing. Tyson, it's what your family deserves.
Facts of Life by Lysol. Fact. It's cough and cold season. Fact. Lysol spray helps stop the spread of the cold virus. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
You can't beat the taste of a Quiznos oven-toasted sub made with the finest meats and cheeses. Try one today.
Toasty. Last night, Charlie and I were so tired, we checked into a Motel 6 for a good night's sleep. Well, Charlie's still snoozing.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Meineke looks at auto service a little differently. Now, with the premium oil change, get free wiper blades. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.